Hey, welcome to the Creative Writing Program. Today, we are looking at character development. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Actually, today, I am here to praise Caesar and how different aspects of his character played out in the play. Julius Caesar, a Roman statesman, general, notable Latin author, a man of complexities, and a husband. Shakespeare created a character who is sometimes reasonable, sometimes superstitious, sometimes compassionate, and sometimes arrogantly aloof. In doing so, he has projected Caesar as a man whom the nobility have just reasons who to fear, yet who is not a villain. A perfect amalgamation of all this is what Caesar is. It lends him characters that fit the part perfectly. Characters are vehicles that play out the plot and add their own touches of brilliance into it. And as a writer, character development is one of the most important processes to go through. Creating the best characters that fit the plot is a great challenge. So, what are the perfect ingredients of a great character? Should he always be brave? Should he have no flaws? These are some of the questions that plague the mind of a novice writer. A tool that works most of the time is mixing different aspects of the people around us, their traits and fears, and create a character that suits our plot perfectly. The most compelling characters are those who appear internally consistent and yet are capable of surprise. Quite often, writers do not realize that taking instances from their lives, mostly emotional triggers, can add a great deal of depth into their characters. Some good emotional triggers that can help in character development are the moment of greatest sorrow. Think of death, grief, loss. The moment of greatest joy. It's strange how nebulous moments of joy can seem, and what a loss. At what stage in your character's life, or in your own, did the golden moment occur? What has happened since? The moment of deepest shame. Shame is connected to self image, and this moment will be when that image was seriously undermined in a particularly personal way in front of others. The moment of most profound guilt. This involves some violation of a moral code. It may also make us ashamed, but guilt involves having knowingly done something wrong. The moment of greatest fear. This is perhaps the most important emotional trigger because almost all of our limitations, failures, frustrations, and disappointments, and thus our secrets and vulnerabilities, can be traced back or relate to some fundamental fear. The moment of greatest courage. This may be physical valor, moral isolation, or simply persisting in the face of some dread. There are various aspects of character building. Sometimes it may get tough for a writer to keep up with all of them of different characters. One of the techniques used is called character profile. The purpose of a character profile is twofold: to assist the writer in creating a character that is as lifelike as possible, and to help with continuity issues in the story. It keeps in track a particular character's idiosyncrasies and relationships. One can maintain a character profile by using a character profile worksheet, which contains information like nationality, birth order, relationships, height, age, among others. A better way to write complex characters is to simplify them, choosing three attributes, preferably conflicting ones, and allow those attributes to drive the character's actions throughout the story. This is a golden rule to follow whenever one sits down to write a story or a play. So, for example, we can create a character who might be very outspoken but might have trouble talking to his or her parents about personal matters. Adding self doubt to this character would help the character seem more believable and relatable to many teens. There are some common faults that are made during the process of character building, like fall guys, the ones who are there just to get shot or be taken down by the villain to give the protagonist a moment of grief. Two dimensional characters. They exist only inside the story and lack depth. They also make the plot flat instead of elevating its meaning. And finally, Mary Sue's or Gary Stu's. They are characters who are absolutely perfect with no flaws. They can overcome any scenario and difficulty thrown at them. They are super smart and lucky. They are beautiful, charming, honest, and are good at everything they try. Such a character will have no problem navigating through the problems they face, thus making the ending obvious and predictable. Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys are great examples. The ending of all their stories end with some brilliance from the protagonists, and even the baddest of villains will be caught. Make sure you don't have such characters in your stories. Create meaningful characters who are realistic and can get the reader very attached to them. Now that you're well acquainted with the basic features of character building, put this information to good use in the coming tasks.